Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining. If you would, real quick, everybody was supposed to do a quick mic check. Could you give me a green check if you did a mic check? Okay. All right, great, thank you. And today, even though there's only 3 of us in the class, what I'm going to ask is that we're going to still, everybody listen to the class with their mics off. And if you would like to talk, please raise your hand. I'll identify you, and then we'll turn the mic over to you. But again, even though there's only 3 of us and all 3 could talk, I want to kind of act like it's a larger class. And what we're going to do today is we are going to talk about one of the things that we read about or watched this past week, and I'm going to talk about how it relates to what I do for a living. Okay, and the part that I'm talking about is the webinar video that we were required to watch, and it's the 2014 Survey of Faculty Attitudes on Technology and why it's applicable to where I work. Okay. And all right, the first thing, the key point that I got out of this video that we watched was that enrollment is up. However, skepticism is still high among those that have previous experience with online learning. Okay, it really shocked me that when I was listening to this, that even the statistics for the faculty that had used online learning before, even those were high. Matter of fact, there were 58% of them, which is more than half, thought that it was either they were neutral or they disagreed that online learning and face-to-face learning was pretty much equal. Overall, everybody that was polled, it was 74%, almost 3/4 of them, felt that online learning did not equal the same student learning outcomes as the face-to-face. Okay, and what I want to do is, this is going to be our icebreaker, and I'm going to take you to a slide here in just a second, but what we're going to do is we're going to use the whiteboard tools. And I'm going to ask you to list some of the reasons why people are skeptic. Okay? Do I have any questions before I move on to this exercise? Okay, then. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to, using the whiteboard tools, and I'm starting off with the most difficult of the 3 things we're going to be doing tonight. But using the whiteboard tools, I want you to list reasons for skepticism. I want you to circle the one that you believe would be the hardest to overcome. And if you taught online, I want you to make your circle blue. But if you didn't teach, if you've never taught online before, then I want you to circle it red. And again, I want you to circle the one that you believe would be the hardest to overcome. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a minute to do this. If you need any help, please raise your hand and I'll jump in and try to help you out. Okay, just a little bit longer, and then we're going to go ahead and move in. If you would, assuming you have your hardest to overcome, if you would go ahead and try to circle the one that you think would be the most difficult to overcome. Okay. Looking at it, looks like one of you has taught online before and one has not. Okay, and the 2 that you chose were the lack of resources. In other words, you really just don't have the ability to teach online. And then one of the other ones is that it's not how they were taught. In other words, you're not used to teaching that way, you're not used to learning that way. So I can see where that comes into play. Some of the other ones, the lack of faculty training, that was a big one that they talked about during the video. The lack of technical support, thinking that online is not effective as face-to-face learning. Some of the other ones that I pulled from there was the ability to meet objectives. They actually believe it's actually harder to teach that way. One of the other ones they mentioned was reaching the at-risk students. And one of the big ones, one of the ones that they didn't necessarily mention, but that was kind of hinted at, was the fear of being replaced. Is one of the skepticisms of it is that they actually were worried about if online training takes off too well, that they may actually be replaced by a cheaper version. All right, thank you. What I want to do now is I want to talk about, my role. I am the Chief of Academic Development for the United States Air Force School of Aerospace Medicine. What I do for a living is I assist doctors, nurses, and technicians in writing their course material for the courses that they teach. And we use a model called the ISD, or Instructional Systems Development. I have a grand total of 11 employees that work for me. 8 of them are instructional systems specialists. I have a graphics artist, an audiovisual tech, and a web developer. And what we're trying to accomplish, we have 74 in-resident courses and 35 advanced distributive learning courses. Okay, and right now we are trying to do more and more blended learning, where we have a prerequisite. Hang on a second, I think I might be getting ahead of myself a little bit. We're trying to do some blended learning, and we're trying to introduce this, and we're trying to put out there prerequisites, and we're taking all of the lectures, so to speak, putting it online, having the students do that before they get there, and then when they get to the schoolhouse, then it's mostly the hands-on training that they're going to be doing. One of the reasons is, of course, money is tight. The longer they're at the schoolhouse, the more what's called TDY, temporary duty assignment. There's more money spent. So by doing this blended learning, we can actually save money and hopefully make it actually a better learning experience. One of the other things that we are currently doing with our blended learning is that we are doing what we call technical inserts. We will video things, or we'll do 3D modeling of the equipment that is used, and the students then can go back in and basically play with the equipment on their computer at home or in the barracks at night. So when they come back to school the next morning, they can actually go back up to the equipment, and after practicing with it in a virtual world, they're a little more familiar with it, where all the buttons are, where all the switches and everything, so they can play with it a little bit more. And we've even taken it one step farther. We have a 3D model of one of our aircraft, and they practice loading all the equipment in there for picking up patients. So the next exercise I would like to do is, what I would like to have you do is in the chat box, are you introducing any kind of blended learning? And if you are, can you tell us a little bit about it? Okay, I see everybody's writing. Hopefully you are trying to use it. Okay, Andrew says very minimal at this point. It's a major hurdle at Cedarville. Okay, Andrew, is that high school, middle school, elementary? Oh, higher education, okay. Okay, Nita, you're not an instructor. You work with systems and data, however, working at on higher education administrative, and hope to use my work at some point. Okay, well, that's definitely a goal. Well, then I guess I'm alone in this attempt at blended learning. Well, then let me ask you this. Give me a green check if either of you has actually been participated in blended learning, where you've had some online work and then later in class? Okay, one yes and one no. Okay, well, do I have any questions before I move on to the next thing? Oh, Nita has done 100% online. Okay. Well, the next thing I want to talk about is we actually, and the first time I ever heard of a MOOC was actually in this class. I've never heard of it before, and that's a massive open online course. And at the School of Aerospace Medicine, we actually just gained a new capability, and that is what I would equate to a MOOC, and that is our MIST broadcast. MIST stands for Medical Interagency Satellite Training. We can actually put out training that actually looks like the weatherman. We film it on a green screen. We can place images behind them. We can place PowerPoint slides on the TV standing next to them, or we can just simply use their voice and project the slides directly onto the screen itself. But we have this capability. We have a schedule of courses where we can watch it, and it's located on all major Air Force bases, and it can be used for career field updates or to introduce new equipment is one of the big things. And it can be viewed in 3 different ways. Now, it's not exactly like a MOOC because it's not always on the internet. Sometimes it's on satellite and it's directly into a TV set. So it can be viewed with a live downlink site, which you would then have two-way communication, because they would have a microphone there, and they could, just like we do here, raise their hand to talk, hit the microphone, and then they could ask questions two-way, but the video is only one way. And then they can also do it via internet. They can watch it via internet. However, watching it that way, it's only one way. The video and the communication goes to the student, but they can't necessarily ask questions unless there was some other kind of means where, like maybe email or a separate chat window was opened up. And then the last way that you can actually view these classes is through the recording. So just like we're doing now, recording this presentation, we can record what we broadcast in the MIST studio, and then students can watch it later. Okay. Now, my next question then, and what we're going to do is we're going to use the polling, and I want to know if you have ever participated in a MOOC. And let me set up the polling real quick. Okay. And if you would, either pick A, B, C, or D. A, you have participated in one. B, you've taught one. C, you've done both. Or D, you've done neither. And okay. And actually, it looks like both of you have done neither. I didn't vote, but it's counting me in voting. So anyway, so neither of you have done it. Like I said, I've never heard of it. I've never participated in myself. So none of us have. Okay, and then the bottom line is that, I'm sorry, just a second, let me catch up. The bottom line is business is booming. At the School of Aerospace Medicine, we're getting more and more requests for online training or technical support for our in-resident courses. It's going through the roof right now. I currently, like I said, have 11 employees. I'm expecting in the near future I'm going to need more and more. And the strange thing is that here I am in a class trying to learn about Blackboard, and we are in the process of purchasing Blackboard. So do I have any questions at this time? Okay, well then if that's it, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and then we can talk about who's next.